Ooh, there's Martin.
Yay.
Like,
Great news.
ooh. Okay, thank God.
And Lexi, are we able to promote Martin to a panelist?
Yeah, I
Thank you.
just did.
I see that. Perfect.
You see?
There we
Yeah.
go. Hello, everybody. Apologies for a little bit of.
No, you're all good. Thank you for joining us. We were going to have a little bit of an issue had you not joined with quorum because one of our other committee members or commission members was unable to make it because of uh, an emergency circumstance. But good evening, everyone. It is July 22nd, 2025, and the time is 6:06 p.m. I now call this meeting of the Urban Design Commission to order. Pursuant of Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, this meeting of the Urban Design Commission is conducted via remote participation. We will make recordings available upon request as soon as possible after the meeting. My name is Estella Reganet, and I am the co-chair or I guess now the chair for tonight's meeting, and we will start with a roll call of the commission members present. Frank Valdez, absent. Andrew Arba,
Present.
Deborah Fennick,
Present.
Tim Talon is absent. Martin Pavlinik.
Present.
And with 3 members present, we do have a quorum. And our first order of business is to approve the approval of the May 13th, 2025 meeting minutes. Does anyone have any comments or have noted sections that need correction or amendment?
No, but are we allowed to approve it with Martin wouldn't have been here at that meeting?
That was the 13th.
right.
I wasn't at that meeting. I don't miss many, but I miss that
You
one.
guys were sent the packet with the meetings in it, but I guess you wouldn't be able to
I think
review
we usually
them.
can't approve them if you weren't part of the meeting. You can't.
Okay, I can bump it to next meeting.
Yeah,
I don't think there's going to be anything controversial. I just don't know if we can legally do it.
let's do that. Thank you for
Yeah.
that note, Andrew.
Yeah.
All right, and do we have to have a motion to table it to the next meeting?
So motioned.
Perfect. Second? Deborah, second. Roll call vote. Andrew,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
and motion approved to table the approval of the May 13th, 2025 UDC meeting minutes to the next UDC meeting. And we are now going to move into design reviews. The first one is the design review for 1 Myrtle Street.
Hi, this is Steve Carey. I'm the case planner for this. I'm going to promote Darren Gladstone. Actually, I'm not a host. Lexi or someone who's host, could you promote Darren Gladstone to panelists so we can make a brief presentation?
Yeah, is there anybody else I need to promote to panelists for this project for 1 Myrtle?
Nope, just Darren.
Great. And as a reminder, before the applicant proceeds with the presentation, we will end with a vote on design guidelines and any other additional design guidance. So, Darren, if you are ready to present, you have 20 minutes.
It's a fairly small project. I'm sure you can see
Yeah.
from the packet. Don't think it'll take 20 minutes. Let's see. Darren, it looks like you may just need to unmute yourself, maybe. Or I can. Who's ever hosting, do you want to try requesting that he unmute? That might help.
Let's see.
All right, Darren, are you there? I'm just thinking, Stella or Lexi, given that this is a fairly small project and you guys have the information in front of you, is a presentation necessary for the board to be able to vote on this?
Would we actually just get some context? It's so far out of what we normally review that it jumps out as to why we're looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
agreed. I mean, I can give a little context. Essentially, this, you know what? I believe Darren is actually giving me a call right now. Let me see if I can work out his tech issue. Yep. Hi, I just spoke with Darren. I just confirmed that the computer he's on doesn't have a microphone. Um, but I think I was just starting to give some context for this. Essentially, because it's an apartment building and because it's in MR3, a modification to it does trigger full site plan process, which includes review before this board, even though the modification of the building is in this case fairly pretty small in scope and actually not visible from the right of way. So, I mean, I would guess I'd leave it to the chairs and the board to decide if feel like you need a presentation from the applicant to be able to make your make your recommendation.
Yeah, I'm seeing a shaken head from Andrew. Deborah or Martin, any
So
thoughts?
I just have a question. I think we reviewed this before. Is that correct? Or it came in before us? We had the same question. Why was
Yeah, that is correct. I recall that.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. Yeah, but is there any note about why we required a second meeting?
It was on the agenda before, but we didn't get quorum. So that's
Oh.
why it was sit in a different packet because we couldn't make quorum. And then our last meeting, we had a last minute cancellation. So
Mhm.
To me, this has no impact on the urban
Right.
condition in any way, and I'm fine letting it move forward.
I agree. We'll just look through the sketches, yeah, I'm not even sure it's not gonna be that visible, so I agree, I would approve this also.
Same third.
All right, let's get to motioning then. So it sounds like, let's see, can I get a motion to vote that the design guidelines for the district have been met?
So motioned.
Andrew, and seconded
Second.
by Martin. Great, roll call vote. Andrew,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Deborah.
Yes.
Right, motion approved. And I think second and last vote for this application is for any additional design guidance for the recommendation, if any. I'm seeing shaking heads.
Mhm.
None.
Great. So thank you, Stephen, and thank you, Darren, for joining us, even though we couldn't hear you. But this great. And now we will move to design review for 32 Webster Street. And this is Kit's project.
Yep. Lexi, could you promote David Swanson?
Oh, and then Phil Sema has their hand raised as well.
Yes, can you promote, this is David Swanson. Can you promote Phil Sema and Aaron as well? They're both gonna be speaking.
yes. I just promoted both of them.
Awesome, thank you.
Great, thank you, Lexi.
Well-
Again, before you all get started, just a reminder that we will be voting on the facade, that the design guidelines have been met for the district and any additional design guidance. And so before you get started, reminder that you have 20 minutes to present. So feel free to take it away.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. I'm Phil Sema from Balance Architects. I don't have sharing turn on. If someone can turn that on. It's nice to see some old faces and new faces. And we'll get started in just a sec.
I just enabled it for you to be able to share your screen if you want to try it.
Okay. It keeps saying sharing is not turned on. The host isn't allowing sharing for this webinar.
Okay, I'll make you. Let me see. You should be able to right now.
All right, I got it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lexi.
Oh, okay. So everybody's seeing the PDF? Great.
Yes.
Okay. So thanks everyone. So the project we're looking at is 32 Webster. It's right outside of Union Square on Webster, kind of at the top of the hill where the train tracks go down. There's a substation over here. It's an MR4 building. So just to give you context, obviously, as we said, very close to Union Square, right at the top of that hill right there, and at the corner of Webster and Newton, both kind of slope down from this high point on the corner that we'll see in some photos. So aerial views to give you context, the dash line is our site right now, you know, kind of very dilapidated, abandoned building with a ton of overgrown foliage along the side. Some street views. So this is at that corner, looking at Newton, going down from Newton, looking up, you know, looking up Webster, and then again at the corner, looking down on Webster. So we're MR4, we abut some NR. We're not a pedestrian street, so we're going to do all an apartment building, not a mixed-use general building, and very close to public transit. We do not have any vehicular parking in the project. So the general massing it's one of these buildings that's longer than 100 feet. So we're kind of creating two main masses to split the length of it along Webster. So we have this primary mass over here to the left with some bays, balconies at the entrance, the main residential entrance, which is on Webster. That is inset a bit, a change of material happens there. And then we have this kind of corner element that wraps up to the corner and down Newton, again with bays and balconies on the facades. So that's looking on Newton for that side of the street. And then again, this kind of really unique corner condition that we have. The massing is really interesting here just based on it's MR4 abutting NR, so we have to step back that top floor. It creates some great cascading effects. So on the top, we have a common roof deck for everyone with like amazing views based on the orientation. And then what you're looking at over here that's happening on that third floor are private roof decks for the units that face off the back there. And then you can kind of see some movement in the building based upon NR setbacks that are rear yard, not side yard, as well as we're showing a pad mounted transformer in that side as well. So I won't go over the whole zoning, but I'll just do a quick floor plan review. So a couple of studio units on the ground floor that face out because the site slopes so much. It actually, we have to make this a deck. The grade is lower than the building. Some MEP amenity space. And then on the ground floor, the main entry, as we said, is on Webster. We have one-to-one bike storage, a trash room that's accessible from that, and then one bedroom studio and two bedrooms. And then, you know, typical 2 beds, 1 beds for floors 2 and 3. On that top floor is where we start to step back and see some of those private roof decks along that, you know, plan north facade. And then a common roof deck for everyone up here, and then MEP that's happening to the left. Just to be noted, we're in MR4, but there is an fully affordable housing project being proposed. I think it's fully accepted to the left, so that's going to be up 6 stories directly adjacent to us. So we're going to be kind of the small kid on the block when that one is done. So I'm going to let Aaron kind of jump into more of the site plan, because I think in terms of architecture, this is our front entrance, this is transformer side entrance. And yeah, Aaron, are you able to jump on and discuss?
Yes. Hi,
great.
Aaron Hosseini Fitch, project landscape architect from Verdant Landscape Architecture. I'll just briefly go through the landscape. So the overall landscape design consists of 3 main components: streetscape improvements, greenscape, and private outdoor amenity areas for the residents at multiple levels, and vegetative buffers. The plan shown here shows the at-grade landscape. And then initially looking at the streetscape, we are proposing a total sidewalk width of 12 feet from the back of curb on both Webster Avenue and Newton Street, which is previously only roughly 4 to 7 feet width. The proposed streetscape consists of 4-foot width furnishing zone with permeable pavements, short-term bike parking, and street tree plantings. The existing 2 street trees on Webster are to be protected, as shown here. And then there's also the addition of 3 new street trees on Newton, where there are currently none. And then the remaining sidewalk width consists of accessible concrete paving and a raised planter bed at the front corner of the building, across from the existing pedestrian crosswalks and the intersection to kind of soften that corner. And then layered plantings are shown throughout the site, which are predominantly native plantings. And then we also have buffer plantings along the side, fronting 24 Webster as well. And if you can go to the next slide. So up here at the upper levels, we're showing an extensive green roof provided at the 4th floor level, adjacent to several private decks, which is shown at sheet top of this plan. And then at the rooftop level, which is more bottom right on this plan, there's a common amenity deck, as Phil mentioned. And this provides various gathering spaces for the residents. And at this level, we have a semi-intensive green roof that surrounds the deck, which provides a greater depth of soils and ornamental grasses in addition to sedum plantings. And then the ornamental grasses, as well as the other plantings within the raised planters shown here, are again predominantly native species, encouraging biodiversity throughout the site. And if you go to the next slide, this is just highlighting the green score component of the project. And just to know, we are currently exceeding the required score for the MR4 zone. And then that's it for the landscape. So back to Phil. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Erin. So we have 3 design options for everyone tonight. The first option, so again, you're seeing that kind of split of materials along Webster. On the left side, both are a medium density fiber cement panel for the kind of cream color and the charcoal color here, where we're showing, it has to be, it's a net zero ready building that will be passive house standard. Really nice high performance tilt and turn windows and doors that we're showing throughout the project, but they do have the options of kind of changing the colors and matching some of the wood look that we're also proposing on the bay and at that front entry area. And then when you wrap around the corner, darker material bands that goes all the way around Webster that we're seeing here. And then kind of this more natural looking wood that's facing the back, really kind of a rigid fenestration pattern that goes towards that side yard. There's no proper rear yard except when you get back here. And that's what this view looks like from the corner. We should have been showing the plantings that Erin has proposed, which would kind of soften this edge. But in terms of the colors and the facade, this is generally what it would look like with this option. And these are some of the materials for option 1. So Equitone panels for the cream color and the charcoal, and then like a wood look product, like a phenolic resin panel that is not going to fade and age over time, as opposed to real wood, which can kind of look funky pretty quickly. Option 2, so we're introducing clapboard siding in both of these options on the upper floors, especially on the right side of the plan here. So that's what you're seeing. And then the medium density fiber cement panels, almost kind of like a brick look base that wraps around that corner in Webster. You're seeing that there, again, with some of these clapboard siding at the main mass of the building. And what this looks like on the corner with that option. So that is option 2. Some of the materials, again, clapboard siding, white, charcoal, with some of those Equitone fiber cement panels as the base. Then option 3, this is kind of funny, we presented the dark, kind of like a black and white scheme at the first neighborhood meeting. And one of the comments was like, why don't you ever have any color, you architects? You just make boring cold buildings. So this is our kind of color scheme that actually I think this is our favorite scheme, but we use kind of a darker cream on the left side with like an olive tone for the bay, keeping that wood look in the middle. And then we introduce almost like an aged or an oxidized copper color for the bays over here, that red panel for the main mass of the building. And that changes when we step down on that third floor for the offset over here, and then kind of using that wood frame window with that wood inset panel to kind of give more verticality to the fenestration on the rear. And then what you see on the corner view. So some of the, you know, we have beige and a sage, and again, some of the terracotta, sorry, the red color equitone as well. So I think we came up with a bunch of other kind of palette sketches. I don't really want to get into that because they're not our primary options. But that's what we have for everyone tonight.
Great. Any comments from the commission?
Deborah's still here.
I'm still, oh, am I?
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Sorry, I
know,
lost
I'm
you on
just-
the top row. I was like, oh God, do we have to do this without the architect?
Yeah, I guess I have a question. So about so all of these are the same form. It is different material selection, material/color selection. Correct? Yeah, so we're not looking
Yeah,
at,
that's
we're not
correct.
looking at massing options. I don't know if we need to look at massing options. I'm just putting it out.
MR6 triggers massing options. MR4 is facade.
Okay,
So
thank you.
that's cool.
Yeah, clarified. Okay. So this preferred one, I think so the first and the third I think are the most successful. I'm actually, one thing I'm curious about, are those wood windows? Are they wood windows? Are
They would be, they'd be like some type of like, I think it's like a UPVC, but they have all different type of finishes. We're using Ocnoplast. It's from Poland on a lot of projects. They're awesome. They look really good. They're high performance.
Mhm. Did you say it was a fiberglass, ultimately a fiberglass unit, or?
It's some sort of composite, you know,
Yeah.
plastic based rigid frame window. But again, triple pane, super reinforced with metal on the back. It's not a pure cheap, but it is not real wood.
Right. Right. Yeah, those always worry me a little bit, but you know, I think that that facade that had you know, in the more neutral background, yeah, this one here, yeah, is so I think this is a pretty successful base. And I feel like that maybe you have one color too many with this alternative. Yeah, I feel like it just in the red and the wood, at least the way I'm looking at them don't seem that compatible. So but I do think applaud you for, you know, trying to, you know, make this more, you know, colorful, to see what you can achieve that still feels integrated. But I guess can we see number one again? The one alternative one. Yeah, I mean, I think it's always a challenge to have something that feels coherent, that is 100 feet or longer, you know, that has to, by our code, has to appear as two separate buildings. And it's tough to do with the massing and the detailing so similar. But I think and this one does, you know, sort of read like two, but I think that other one is sort of interesting in that it vexes that requirement. You know, the whole city has this, you get over 100 feet, and, you know, you got to look like two buildings, and it always looks like one building that was, you know, designed to look like two. You know, whereas I feel like the third option, and if we could look at the same facade, I mean, same position. Yeah, there. Yeah, I feel like this isn't trying as hard. And I feel like it is achieving something that is just has more variety to it, and it isn't that registering that rule. And I think it's more successful for that. I'd maybe overlap a little more than you are. And again, this is, especially in this view, I'm not convinced the wood look and the terracotta look are compatible. It may be my screen that's not reading it, but
Do you think the inset is helping, Deborah? Like that's
the
making it feel like two buildings?
the inset.
The recess of the
Yeah.
entry.
I think the colorfulness of it and that makes the bay windows stand out, and I feel like it sort of achieves that. It achieves something very different than trying to look like two buildings, which I'm sort of I appreciate as an alternative to option one, which I think is sort of feels like a safe following of the rules of that rule. But I guess I like this one better because it's the same panels, almost, I mean, slightly different patterns of the panels. It isn't very convincing as two buildings. So this one feels to me like it's trying to be more of one building.
I think that's the thing that I'm struggling with. Like it looks like one building to me in all of these massings, but
Yeah, well, I mean, I think in the end they always.
yeah.
And so I'm not convinced, I'm not, I don't have a lot of sympathy for that rule. I think it's interesting to,
Yeah.
to work with it and see. Yeah, I have no problem with really long buildings. I think.
I think this one feels successful too, just because there's the first one, I think the black portion, while handsome, is pretty massive. And I feel like the way that we have all, the bays stand out here, and there's a sort of a rhythm to it that for me, it actually weirdly does sort of feel like two buildings, in the sense of, like, you think about like a row of triple deckers or Philadelphia houses that all have been painted different over the years, and it kind of has a bit of that kind of same buildings, same type of building, different finishes. I mean, I think so. That's, when I squint, this is the one that gives me a bit more of that contextual view. I agree that the second one isn't the clapboard one isn't as successful. It seems like it's a little on the nose in terms of trying to, replicate context. But I think this one, yeah, of the three, I think this one is the most successful, especially because around the back, I think the large expanse of wood in the other two options is a bit relentless. I think it's just too much, especially if it's not real wood too, and it's wood look. I think that's just too much of one material, especially that material. But I think this is a really handsome way to have a sort of resolution around the back.
I do like the back on this one. I definitely agree with that. Can we go to the corner view as well? This is kind of the one that I struggle with because it just feels like the prow of that building feels like it should be something special, but the detailing is the exact same on the top, middle, and bottom. It's just kind of unrelentless, and I feel like it's gonna, as the grade falls away on that corner, it's gonna look potentially unfinished in its current state.
I do wonder how much the planting on the corner would offset that, but I agree.
Yeah, that's
I
such a
mean,
tough spot for planting too, though.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
It just seems
we
like
can certainly
something else
look at
needs to
that.
happen, especially like at the bottom, maybe. I don't know, like it needs to hit. There's something else needs to happen at the bottom to have it sort of feel finished.
Okay. Yeah, we had originally started with kind of like a curved corner, and it was just, I mean, it's really special. So we'll certainly come up with some ideas to enhance that view.
It feels like it should be special, but the bays are so much more visually impactful that it's like it's a little bit it's hard to feel that from this view.
It is a background expression where you want to have some foreground pop or power. Yeah, I agree with that. Does anyone else have the problem with the colors? Actually, I realized the two greens are sort of I'm just afraid that they'll end up looking near miss, but yeah, they're a little too similar, and then the wood and the terracotta. But again, it's hard to tell unless you see the real materials. It looks more maroon than terracotta to me. It doesn't have the orange in it that I would imagine. And then it would look good with the wood finish. And I think actually if we go to the what street was that? The more regular side,
Newton.
if for option 3, yeah, that gray panel, that could be a colorful panel. And then I mean, I think that would sort of marry this a little more to the other major street.
You mean the one that's slightly dark, not the
Yeah.
primary one in the back, but the bay?
It has no, and no, that actually the one next to the right of that,
I see.
which is a gray panel, I think. I think that could be, that could be colored or something. The other, it feels a little too literal, although I guess it could, that bay could also. But I like I just think where the sort of wire is that, I mean, why the railing, yeah, that section that has gray behind it,
Yeah.
that could be a color. And I think that
Yeah.
that could be a nice marrying of the other the expression on the street, the colorful street, the street that has Webster Street.
Mhm. Oops. Sorry.
Yeah, I think something sort of understated but special on the prow of the building. Something like shallow, what is it, Juliet balconies, that sort of wrap, or something like, something that is yeah, is subtle. But helps define that lower band without making the lower section, the street level section, which goes under all of the bay windows. You don't, it just by having, yeah, something that helps define that without just having a change of material at that line.
Yeah, great.
I'm sure there are many ways of doing it. I just made up one way using some of the elements you have on here anyway.
And then on the landscape plan, I didn't really have any major issues with it. I know PSF will review the streetscape and provide comments on the tree selections. The one planter on the corner is a little, like I said, that's kind of a tough location. But I get why you're doing it. And then the roof deck there's nothing really, it's fine. The fence seems a little bit, doesn't seem like it's quite the same language as the building, but it's minor.
Yep.
The wood privacy fence at the grade levels more just along the top property line.
Okay.
More just for privacy. And then
Yeah.
along that side, we're not showing a fence actually, the left side.
Yeah, its reading is a little bit, just a little bit kind of traditional on a building that doesn't read that way, but it's minor.
Understood.
Great. Are there any more comments from the commission before we move to our votes for the evening?
Nope. Keep it rolling.
All right, let's keep it rolling, says the man. So just to clarify, does the commission want to conditionally approve option 3 with conditions that the architects think about differentiating that corner prow of the building to define the street level section as well as the back colors, or should we approve option 3, and then do we need to see another round of?
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing it again, but I could be talked out of it. It looks like Deborah's cool seeing it again. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it would be worthwhile to see it again, but limited, maybe we could approve option 3, and then, it's an elaboration, incorporating the comments that we've made and maybe more description of, the materials or something.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, and the colors,
Agreed.
Sorry, so the first option or the second to?
I think we're going
Conditionally
to ask for it. We're going to conditionally select option 3, but ask for them to return incorporating comments from this meeting.
That sounds great. So can I have a motion to conditionally approve option 3 with conditions that the architecture team is going to differentiate the corner of the building to define the street level section as well as the back colors. And then we'll see those finalized options in another meeting.
so moved.
All right, and a second?
Second.
All right, second by Andrew. Roll call vote. Andrew,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
and Martin.
Yes.
Great, motion approved. And then our second vote will be to approve that the design guidelines for the MR4 district have been met. Can I get a motion?
I think we do that at the final meeting.
Final.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
that sounds great to me. Then it seems like we are all set for this design review for 32 Webster. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Perfect. So that was a pretty efficient meeting. Thanks, everyone. Can someone make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Deborah, and second?
Second.
Martin. Let's have Martin do it. Yeah. Seconded by Martin.
Get in there.
This is
Get
my
in there.
first one of these. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't want to
Yeah.
chew up the scenery, step on any toes.
This is
No,
the best part.
end it. Take us home.
Before we go,
so-
I'm going to introduce myself, though. I'm
Oh, yes,
Deborah.
please.
Hi,
Hi, Martin.
I'm Martin. I'm landscape architect. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. You did great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Happy to have you here.
Meeting adjourned at 6:43. Thanks, everyone.
Excellent.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all.
Okay.
Bye-bye.